we finally have a clear picture of how you're going to expand the storage in your new Xbox Series X or Series S, as well as in your new PlayStation 5. So I'm going to really quickly give you the how-tos on both of those and how much it's going to cost you. So with the new Xbox consoles, the Xbox Series X will be rocking a 1 gigabyte NVMe SSD, whereas the Xbox Series S will be getting basically half that at a 512 gigabyte SSD. You can expect pretty good speeds of 2.4 gigabytes per second in terms of that storage's speed, which is definitely nothing to bat an eye at, but it's not really in the same ballpark as what the PlayStation 5 is offering in terms of speed. Okay, so a terabyte on the Series X and then 512 gigs on the Series S. How do you go about expanding that storage? As we know, games are getting bigger and bigger. If you're looking at that Xbox Series S, Call of Duty might be taking up half of your storage. And when you consider that storage is not the same as available storage, because some of that hard drive will be unusable space due to OS and other reserved bits of storage, it's not necessarily enough. For the Xbox consoles, that is where this is your solution. What this is literally just a little cartridge that will plug into the back of your Xbox Series S or Series X. You can see a photo here of where it plugs in. It is $220 for an additional 1 terabyte of storage. You will be getting the same speeds as the internal drive. This is just plug and play, stick this thing in the back, boom, you have upgraded your storage. It is incredibly simple. It's not super cheap, but for this kind of speed, it's not unreasonable. This is somewhat proprietary. So there is your simple answer for the Xbox Series X and Series S. Now I've seen in some news stories here floating around that apparently Microsoft will allow other makers to make their own expansion cards for the new Xbox console. So you might see some cheaper options later. For right now, it's a terabyte, it's $220. So the PlayStation 5, where are we at there? So the PlayStation 5 has 825 gigabytes of storage, which is just soldered to the board. You saw that in the breakdown, the teardown video of the PlayStation 5. So how do you upgrade your storage in your PlayStation 5? Well, in this instance, the situation is a little bit different. So we saw in the PlayStation 5 teardown video that basically what you do is you can pop off the side panel on the PlayStation 5, which reveals this port here. And basically, the M.2 drive, you can't really see because the way this is focused, but it basically plugs in there and then a screw will then hold it in place. Okay, so what is an M.2 drive? Basically, it's just a very, very fast SSD that sort of has its own place to plug in. If you're a PC gamer, newer motherboards have slots for these things. They're very fast. Problem is that they're not 5.5 gigabytes per second fast. So my question was, well, man, you can't just go buy an SSD and plug this thing into the PlayStation 5 and get the same speeds. The reality is that you have to buy an M.2 drive that supports the new PCIe Express 4.0. Which basically allows these things to hit even faster speeds than they used to. As of today, right now, there are only 3 drives that have been announced that I'm aware of that can match the 5.5 gigabytes per second that the PlayStation 5 requires for games to be played on them. They are all 3 by Western Digital, and here's the breakdown. You can see here, that was where the blurry part of that image was. That's what actually will slide in and plug into place there. And then you can see a little notch there. That's where the screw will go in to hold it in place. Really simple to install. So this guy here is 500 gigabytes for $150. For 1 terabyte, you get $229. $219 for the Xbox, $229 for the PlayStation 5. We are very comparable. And then there is a $449 option for 2 terabytes. Seems kind of crazy to spend almost as much as you did for the whole console, but there you go, it's an option. So while expandable storage on these new systems is not cheap, it's not going to be cheap considering the speeds that we're dealing with. They are going to be more and more plentiful, and they're really easy to install. In the Xbox, you just plug it into the back. On the PlayStation, that side panel pops off. I believe there's a screw to take off another little panel, and there it is. You're exposed and you're installed in a couple of minutes. Interestingly enough, the fact that Sony has gone with a non-proprietary setup here means that the prices may come down over time. In fact, they should. This really flies in the face of what Sony has done forever. Shout out to the PlayStation Vita and your crazy expensive memory cards. The fact that the PlayStation 5's expandable storage with twice the speed is $10 more expensive than what is out there for the Xbox right now is pretty interesting to me. I think we can expect those prices to come down over time across the board. So guys, there you go. That is how to expand the storage in your Xbox Series S or X and your PlayStation 5. Stay tuned for more upcoming videos, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.